Hi everyone, welcome to Everyday, your daily stop for virtual reality content. Today we're going to be checking out Oculus Maximus, which is a gladiator combat game for the Oculus Rift virtual reality head-mounted display, as well as the Razer Hydra. The Razer Hydra has two controllers you hold in each hand, and it tracks your hand's position and orientation in space. In this case, we're going to be using this hand to hold our buckler, our shield, and this hand to hold our sword so we can slash and poke and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and jump into the game. I'll show you how to get it calibrated, and then we will get our Rift on. So here we are at the weapon select screen. So the first thing I'm going to do is calibrate my Razer Hydra. So I'm going to take the two controllers, I'm going to put them down on the desk. Then I'm going to take the base station, and they tell you to put the base station between your legs on your chair with the wires sticking out the back, going off the chair. Okay, so I've done that. Now I'm going to take these, and I'm going to put the, make sure, sorry, I'm having a wire issue here. There we go. The Razer Hydra has a lot of wires. Its successor, the STEM, which I'm going to talk more about, actually is wireless, so that'll be a nice improvement. Okay, I'm going to put these down at my sides. I'm going to press the 2 button on the left-hand controller, which is this one. Once I've done that, you can see I have my sword, I have my shield, and now I'm going to get into the Rift. I'm a little bit off center here in my Rift, so if you just push the 4 on the right, on the, there we go, it faces you forward. So just to take a look at the controls before I jump in, the controls are basically as intuitive as they could possibly be. You have this sword in your left hand, and I love the controls of the sword. Your hand just, it tracks the position relative to your body you expect it to be. You actually have arms in this game, unlike, say, every other Razer Hydra demo I've tried, which is kind of nice to have arms. Have this cool armor on your arms. And the sword, like, just being able, like, right off the bat, you can slice the sword horizontally, you could slice it vertically, you can poke with the sword, slice diagonally. It all just works exactly the way you would expect it to. And you get a cool whoosh sound if you do it fast enough. It's delayed a little bit, so it's not totally realistic. Your shield also works about the way you expect, so you can push it outwards if you need to get your sword in here. You can hold it close to protect yourself. You can hold it higher to protect against high shots, lower to protect against low blows. And this all pretty much just works. And you can bang your sword on your shield too. Come on, bang, bang. There we go. There we go. So the sword, the shield's not quite as nice an experience as the sword. The sword just works really well. The shield, like, your eyes will clip into it if you get it at the wrong angle. And sometimes if you calibrate wrong, it just glitches out totally. And that can be really weird. I kind of like how this game has you have the base station in your lap instead of on the desk in front of you, because that means I can rotate my chair like this. And it still tracks things reasonably well because it's moving with me. Alright, without further ado, let's check out our weapon choices. So over here on the left, we have these two sword-looking things. Can I hit these with my sword? Nah, I can't. They're kind of little dagger things. You hold them and you can attack with both of them at the same time. So if you like to attack, this is another one that's nice for people who prefer attack to defense. You have these two swords. You can attack with them both at the same time. And finally, here in the middle, the one I'm going to use, you have your buckler and you have your sword. So let's go ahead and go. I really like how the light streams down around things and how around my shield and everything. That's a cool effect. We'll see more of that effect in the arena. Okay, when you enter the game, you actually have to recalibrate, and also whenever you restart the game, that's just how it works. And calibration can be a little bit dodgy sometimes. So now you can see, like, this sword is too far to the left. Like, it's, even though I'm holding it on my right hand side, it's like almost in my center. So I'm going to try that one more time. Okay, I got it calibrated now. I just had to push it a few times, move my hands around a little bit.
Romans have fought many battles. battles, but none as many as the man who stands before you today.
My adoring fans.
The mighty destroyer of mortals, I give you
Oculus Maximus. That's my name. So you are Oculus Maximus, the gladiator, the champion gladiator in the arena, and all the other gladiators want a piece of you. Luckily, you're much better than them. I have a really cool shadow. I like that shadow. You have this nice wide stance with your feet. You can see your arms and your hands and all that. As you might have noticed, the calibration's a little bit finicky. It can be pretty hard to get right sometimes. You might have to work at it for a little while. But once it's right, your hands will be quite effectively matched up with their real-world position at all times. Well, at most times. The other thing is that because your shield gets knocked back by attacks, sometimes after it's been knocked back, or likewise, your sword gets knocked back by attacks. And so, if it's been knocked back, then your hands won't be in exactly the same position they are in real life. And that's just kind of one of the perils of not actually striking anything real. That if you get pushed back in the virtual world, you have to deal with the problem where you no longer match your real world position because the real world is not pushing you back. So I'm using the Razer Hydra, as I noted. The Razer Hydra is, I borrowed this from somebody. It's extremely rare. I believe they're either out of production or in very low production. This guy has a shield like me. To get around the shield somehow. Alright. Okay, I think I got him. So, like, they're currently selling them with a limit of 1 per customer on the Sixense website for $300, which is kind of nuts because when they first came out, they cost, like, at most $100. Do you see that head fall in slow motion? That was overly dramatic. And they're selling on eBay for something ridiculous like $500, which just don't pay that much for them. And the reason this happened is just because they basically started to go out of production and become defunct at the very moment they started to come into demand for use with VR applications like this one. You've got those 2 swords going on. There we go. I'm good at taking off heads. I'm not so good at taking off hands and feet, which you can also do in this game. I wish there was some way to tell how much health I have left, because I'm pretty sure I've lost quite a lot of blood here. We'll find out shortly. Ooh, I have to face a guy with a buckler and a guy with 2 swords. I can handle that. So I don't recommend you try and buy a Razer Hydra at this point, unless you can find one cheaply at a garage sale or something. Oh yeah, taking them out. But what I do recommend you do is pre-order the Sixense STEM, which is designed by Sixense, the same people who designed the Razer Hydra. And it is kind of the next generation system. It has more accurate tracking, and it's a lot more flexible. So the Razer Hydra, you have these. First of all, it's a wireless solution. So the Razer Hydra is wired. Obviously, you can see these 2 strings coming out of it. Oh, I'm dead.
Must be mistaken. This cannot be. Oculus Maximus has fallen by
I know, like how could I lose? That doesn't make sense. Okay, time to recalibrate. Wish me luck. Alright, I'm calibrated. That didn't take too long.
Introducing a man who knows not fear. A man who, when greeted at the gates of Hades, was cast back into our world.
Welcome, my fans. Welcome. Get ready to behold some awesome slicing. Ow. Okay, he should not have hit me. There we go. So, like I was saying, the Sixense STEM, it's wireless, and it comes with these little modules called stems that you can attach to all sorts of devices. So, like, if I were making this game for the Sixense STEM system, I think it would be cool to have, like, an actual sword controller that is the same size as this sword and has a reasonable weight for a sword, and you could just stick a Sixense STEM tracker right in the handle. And once you had done that, you could be really swinging something that really feels like a sword and really seeing it react in the VR world. And I think that would be really cool. Likewise, you could have a shield controller just like this one that had like a tracker right here in this grip. And so you could really have something that looked just like this sword and shield and be using them in this game. Conversely, if you couldn't if you didn't want to buy those peripherals, if you thought that would just be too much of a pain, you could just use their normal controllers that come with the Sixense STEM system, and you could use this virtual sword and shield just like I am now. So it gives you a lot of flexibility in terms of players can buy peripherals if they want to that are customized for your game, or if they don't want to, they can just use, you know, whatever default controller you give them. So I really like that aspect of it. I like that it has like an 8-foot range. I like that it's wireless and it's high precision. I like that you can have any number of trackers. Like the Hydra Razer is limited to these 2 trackers, but the STEM system you can actually have between 2 and 5, and you can always buy extra ones if you want to. So it's really modular. And so you could use that to track your head, because you notice like when I played, if you guys saw me play Half-Life 2 VR in a previous video, when I was using these Hydra Razers, I had to use an Xbox 360 controller in one of my hands because I had already used 2 of them to track my body and to track my right hand, so I didn't have one for my left hand. But with the STEM system, I would be able to buy it with 3, and then I could just use the 3rd one to track my body, and that would work out fine. Although that will be less necessary for... that'll be... 1 down. I'm gonna take you out. I'm not afraid of guys with swords and shields, but you should be. Oh yeah. But the Razer Hydra, I feel like it already does a pretty good job of tracking your hands. Like, if it's ever miscalibrated or there's interference, then it gets to be a really bad experience really quickly. And like with this game, if I had it miscalibrated, it would be really bad. But once I calibrate it correctly, it's good. It just takes a while to get it right. Oh, I'm dead. No. No.
The great hero himself has fallen.
Tragedy.
Rome stands in awe at such a crushing defeat.
I didn't even get to fight those guys. All right, calibration time. All right, I'm good to go.
They say there is always one man who lives to fight every battle. Ladies and gentlemen, that man stands before you today.
Behold,
Presenting
Oculus Maximus. You'll notice the audience in this game is just kind of a static image. They're kind of abstract. And I don't know if that was to simplify development effort or if it was to focus attention on your attacker. I really like the light streaming effect from that side of the stadium. I think this would be cool though if they had like an actual audience that you could see moving and if they would respond to what you're doing. So like when you had a really cool win, if they would like start cheering, that would be neat. The people who make this game, they talked about doing a Kickstarter version for a full game, so this is kind of just a very basic demo to show off the idea. But I think it would be cool if they made a full version of this and really started adding like different modes and different environments and all that kind of stuff. Oh, come on! Oh yeah, slow motion hit jump. And I imagine if they do make a successor, it would be for the Sixense STEM system. Oh, I didn't mention, but Sixense STEM is backwards compatible with all of these Razer Hydra games. So And it's also they have their motion control software, which is designed to like emulate in games that use the mouse. It emulates mouse motion using the motion of your hands. I haven't tried it with any of those existing games. I'm not sure how good it is. I've only used it for games that have specific support for the Razer Hydra. I imagine that it's not quite as good. That is so weird, that slow motion head. But yeah, I think it'll be nice just to be able to play all of these old existing demos and content using the STEM system, so that I don't have to track down and buy my own Razer Hydra just to play these old demos. It also means that if you want to start developing for STEM now, and you don't have a STEM yet, if you're a developer, that you should get your hands on a Razer Hydra, because a lot of the same, it's going to use essentially the same SDK, just updated for the STEM, and your content will work like right out of the box pretty much with the STEM system. Come on. And I think this will be a common theme with future VR controllers, is like you can't force... Whoa, what happened to his arm? Okay. You can't expect people to buy peripherals for every single game that are just for that game. So it's nice to be able to have virtual peripherals, like we have in this game, where I have a sword, but I don't actually have a sword peripheral. But on the other hand, for the games where people really like it's their favorite game in the world, I think they would really feel like investing in specific peripherals that give them the real sense of size and weight that you want to have from that game. Of course, then you also have to deal with problems like, if I were actually swinging a sword around, I wonder how many times I would hit my desk. I earlier knocked my mouse off my desk by mistake, so that was fun.
The great hero himself has fallen.
No, how could this be?
Stands in awe at such a crushing defeat.
Oh, I lost a leg back there. Anyway, I think that's enough for now. So this was Oculus Maximus, and I think it's a great demonstration of the Razer Hydra, and definitely I can see why it's one of the most popular games, that you get a great one-to-one sense of your hand's position, and you get to swing a sword around, which is super fun. And that's all for today, and everybody have a great every day.